Walking through the monte with the people, man. And I got about 6 chivos with me, which is 6 illegals. So I'm walking with these 6 chivos, and I was gonna get paid, I think it was 800 each one. That's what I was gonna make, even though I was working with a group of other individuals. So I pull up to the highway where I'm getting picked up at, and the car passed me by that was supposed to pick me up, so he didn't see me. So I'm there waiting and trying to see if I can get his attention, and that I see lights pop up, and lights, you know. So I see different kind of lights pop up. First the beams. I'm like, damn, what the hell's that? Then I see the light, sirens. It's the freaking Migra, the border patrol. So they roll up on me and I get arrested, man. Long story short. And the chivos all tell him, yeah, he's the coyotes, we're paying him to bring us to, America and all that shit. So I get to the CCA, I'm get booked in like normal, get put in a tank. I'm with the hometown car, the Laredo. So in the CCA, you got a lot of people from all over the place, mainly a lot of people from Mexico. But you got a lot of people from Texas too. And so everybody's divided there depending on where you're from. So the Laredo card, we're gonna rock with Laredo, you know what I'm saying? There are some guys from San Antonio there, but they weren't really, they kind of just did their own thing, sort of. But the Laredo card, we stuck together like peanut butter and jelly, man. You know what I'm saying? You're from Laredo, you're from the hometown, then you're gonna rock with us, man, regardless of who you're running with. Cuete, Letra, don't matter. Certain farmers had their own tank, but they started segregating them, putting them in confinement instead of giving them their own tank. They kind of stopped that during the middle of my stay. So if you Letra, they're mainly the ones that got put in confinement. Cuerno también. So they'll put them in segregation and lock them down. Just for off the rip of being an affiliate. So in the CCA, El Platon, like, it was weak, man. The food you could expect, your 3 meals, your 3 square meals, like, it was weak, man. There was really no meat on the bone, man. It's just like the county jail meal was a lot better than the CCA. The CCA, I spent a lot of my time, drawing, writing letters, doing tattoos. That's how I spent my time doing and working on with the hometown car. We do burpees, regulate the tank, you know what I'm saying? And so there was this one time we had been having issues about the shower area. Like cats in the shower, they were leaving a lot of their like soap bars and the wrappers, the razors, just like leaving a lot of different like mess there, you know what I'm saying? And not the razors, but like the hairs off, from them shaving and stuff on the sinks and just being cucarachos, So we had to start checking the tank, man. And one of the guys there was acting like, you know what I'm saying, he wasn't impressed. I chickadee checked him real quick, homie, and was like, man, what's poppin', And then we told him to go in the cell, man. I was going to squabble up with him. He's like, nah, I do all my fighting out here in the Day Area. If you want to fight me, this is where I'll fight you. So I was like, nah, bechale, you know what I'm saying? They got the screen doors open. I was like, all right, whatever, man. As soon as all that cleared up, they did count time. The guards came in and started telling everybody to get by the doors of their cells. Because the way the CCA is set up, you got your shower area, you got your toilets, your sinks, and then in the day area, you'll have the TV, and then you'll have tables right there. And then all around the day area, like in a square, not a circle, but a square, you know what I mean? You'll have cells, doors. And in the cell, there'll be like 2 people, 2 bunks. But they started putting boats. And the boats, you could either be in another cell with somebody and have a boat there on the floor, those little plastic gray boats, because it was so overcrowded. And then they started putting boats like outside of the day area, outside of the cells. And boys just sleep there on the floor, with the mattress on top of the boat. So the count time comes, everybody's by the wall. and they're counting. All of a sudden, this little dude runs up on me, man, and steals off on me. So when he steals off on me, I weave it, boom, but barely, you know what I'm saying? And then, so I'm about to start squabbling with him. The CO grabs me, boom. And as soon as he grabbed me, the dude started, you know, taking off on me. So he got some good shots in me, you know, he got some good licks. And I'm fucking heated as hell, man. I'm like, this fucking peon, you know what I'm saying, ran up on me. I go to segregation, you know, I got a couple of little knots, whatever. But the CO basically, without intentionally doing it, helped this asshole, you know what I'm saying, by holding me, and then he got to get shots off on me. He went to segregation too. They locked him in another area. But I was heated, man. I was like, I just got ran up on by a peon, you know, by a chump, man, labeled a chump on the tank. So I was hot as a motherfucker, man. And I said, man, that's it, bro. Something inside me snapped, you know. I made my first shank that I had there in the CCA. I hadn't even made no weapons at this point. But I was like, man, that's it, man. If that's how weak they think I am, you know what I'm saying, I'm going to have to lay one of these idiots out to send a message, man. So I broke a piece of the mop stick off on the edge, just a little plastic orange piece that I broke off. And I sharpened it up. You know, I turned it into a homemade shank. You know, wrapped the handle around it and everything. Something that I was taught in USP Florence by a Medicil that I was locked up with was to always tie a string at the end of the shank. And if I ever got in a knife fight, to wrap it around my wrist. You know, in case that, because it would pop out, he said sometimes. And he's seen guys get butchered for dropping their shank. If you got a string attached to your wrist and you drop your shank, you could easily just pick it back up. So that's the lesson that I would later on use in the CCA. So I'm in confinement. A couple of weeks go by, they let me out, but they don't put me in the same tank. They put me in a whole nother tank. When I get to this tank, you know, everybody's in their cell, and they don't have the little bolts out there like they did on the other tank. So I'm in there, you know what I'm saying? I got my shank handy, you know what I'm saying? In my drawers, I kept it, you know, tied in between my legs, you know, on the boxers. Made a little hole and they'll tie, like, you know, the string through it. So I'm waiting for them to pop the doors open. You know, just waiting there, chilling, and nobody saying nothing through the glass windows on the doors. All of a sudden, the doors pop open. And I don't know who's running this tank, you know what I mean? I don't know anything about it. So I'm like, man, I'm just like, just waiting, you know what I'm saying? See if we got an issue, if there's any kind of problem, see what's popping in this tank, who running it. So the doors pop open, everybody comes out. And I'm waiting, you know, for the shot callers or whoever in there is running the tank to approach me and ask me some questions, you know what I mean? Find out who I'm running with, who I am. I say about 3 minutes go by, and 3 minutes a long time when you're waiting and everybody's already out their cell. You know, 5 minutes go by, nothing. Nobody approached me, man. So I'm like, all right, cool. So nobody's running this tank. Because if they was, they would have approached me. That's how it works, man. If anybody running the tank, they're going to approach you, man. So everybody was pretty much on there doing their own thing there. You know, nobody was really running the tank. So I approached these guys that had tattoos, you know what I mean? And I introduced myself and I told them, you know, who I run with. And they were like, oh, okay, I run with such and such. And then I was like, wait a minute. How come you didn't approach me, you know what I'm saying, and ask me some questions when I walked in the tank? Like, that's your responsibility as an affiliate of that mob that you said. And they're like, nah, we're just trying to chill. We're not really trying to politic and run the tank. And I'm like, all right. So I was the first one on the boat, you know what I mean? Because they didn't have no cells there, so I told the CO, and then they brought me a little plastic boat. I had to sleep outside in the dairy, you know. And off the rip, the first night I went to sleep, woke up in the morning, like 4 in the morning. They had the freaking TV blazing like really loud right on top of me. So I woke up and I turned that shit off, man. I lowered it. And I was like, hey, man, you're going to have some fucking respect for me, homie. Like, we ain't doing all that shit, man. So I chickity checked this dude quick. He acted like he wasn't feeling it, you know what I'm saying? So I got up in his face and I was like, what's happening, man? You ain't going to wake me up. I'm sleeping out here in the day area. You know what I mean? So they fell back and respected it. So I had to start putting laws down. Made a whole list of rules and regulations and put it up on the wall. Had a meeting and I said, man, if you guys can't respect this, then we're going to throw down, you know what I'm saying? It is what it is, bro. I started flexing and shit, sticking my chest out because I was ready to lay one of these assholes out. You know, I was really ready to snatch somebody's life and then, you know what I'm saying, put that knife up in them and, you know what I mean, take their life, bro. I had it, bro. Something in me snapped, you know. So I wasn't scared to check nobody, man. We had an issue. I was coming at you, man, hardcore. And if you, in any slight way, you know what I'm saying, showed some resistance, man, I was going to pull the shank out on you and lay you out, bro. That's how I was rocking. So some time went by. I'm doing tattoos. I'm making money off the tank, you know, because I was the only tattoo artist. And I would just use a straight staple, you know what I mean, tied to like a pen and just boom, go to town by hand, bro, pura mano. With no motor, no machine, none of that, just straight hand. And then I actually did this one by myself too at the CCA with the straight staple, man, cold with it. So I'm doing these tattoos, I'm burning some ink. They do head count one day and they bust us. Boom, busted. And the CO says, look, I'm going to come back and take one of y'all to confinement. I don't care who it is, but one of y'all going to the shoot when I come back. Make up y'all's mind. I'll be back in a few minutes. So he left and finished doing his counting of the tanks. And I told the dude that I just did a tattoo on. I had did several tattoos on him. Been feeding him, taking care of him. He had just kind of been watching out. And he dropped the ball that day. So I told him, man, you're going to have to go to the shoot, bro. Go ahead and take that loss, you know what I mean? And I'll give you this bag of commissary. You go chill out. He's like, oh, no, I ain't going to the shoot, you know what I'm saying? He says, I ain't doing that. I said, what the fuck you mean you ain't going to the shoot, homie? I just did all this shit. You pretty much in debt to me, bro. And he's like, nah, you know what I'm saying? Hazle como quieras, homie. Like, get it how you live. So I was like, you little motherfucker. So I run up on him and I'm about to steal off on him, man. And his best friend jumps on my back, bro, and starts trying to choke me out. You know, and this dude tries to get close and I pulled the shank out quickly, man. And I hit this sucker, you know what I'm saying? So when I swung it and I hit him in the ear. Bam. Starts leaking out there and he falls down and shit. This other dude saw that shit and ran off. He didn't want no problems. So your buddy just helped you and you run off on your buddy. That's how it went down. So I turn around, man, and this dude's like freaking out, you know what I'm saying? Because we inside the cell at this time. So he's like, so when I ran after him, like the little dude's fast, he boom, got out the cell and started running. So I come outside and I'm chasing him around the day area in circles around the table. He's like, just put the knife down and fight me. I said, no, I'm going to kill your fucking ass. What you mean fight you, homie? You got me fucked up, nigga. So I'm chasing him around the tank, bro. I'm like, man, what's happening, bro? And nothing. So then the CO comes back and then he's on his way, you know, to take somebody to the shoot. And I'm like, you know what? I'm just going to pack it up and get the fuck out of this whole ass tank, man. So I packed my knife back up. I got all my shit and I said, man, that was me. I went to the fucking shoot, you know what I'm saying? And I called pussy where pussy was needed, man. One of the other dudes that was cool there, he saw the whole situation and he backed up too. He was like, man, I ain't handle your business, Jay. You're going to kill these cats, man. You know what I'm saying? I ain't got nothing to do with them. Bato era borracho, PRM. So I go to the shoe. I'm in confinement some more time. And they didn't snitch on me about that hitting them on the ear. None of that shit, man. Like, I didn't get no issues out of none of that. So I guess they didn't rap me on that part. They didn't tell him I had a knife, none of that, because they didn't come shake me down. They didn't come question me, nothing. That's how I knew they didn't rat on me. So, all right, that's cool. So I'm in confinement. Some time goes by. They put me back in my old tank where the first idiot had ran up on me. So I'm in there. Some time goes by. You know what I'm saying? I'm telling them all the story because the hometown car is there. Laredo's there. And I'm talking to the hometown team, you know what I mean? I'm telling them what happened and all this shit. They're like, damn, that's crazy, you know what I'm saying? Ooh. And I showed my boy Ace, you know, Ace from Chacon. A really good friend of mine. He was my celly at that time. So I show him my shank, you know what I'm saying? He's like, damn, you gonna kill somebody, bro? Like, I guess he thought I was joking and shit, you know what I mean? Because he'd always, like, make little comments like, man, stab this workout bag, because we'd have workout bags with water in it, you know, where we lift the water bags, you know, and work out with them. And when we'd empty the bag, he'd look like, stab the bag like you would in the USP, man. How do they do it there? I still remember that shit. So I would shank the bag of water and leak out in the toilet. You know, it was all fun and games. But this one day, man, this fool from Honduras, I think his name was Carlos. And this vato right here in the tank, it was me and his turn to do talacha. Talacha's cleanup time. Everybody in the tank, you know, if you're not paying somebody to do your cleanup, you're going to have to do it yourself, you know what I mean? That's how it works, because everybody here takes turns with that talacha shit. So we're doing talacha, man, and I'm like, all right, I'm going to go ahead and clean all this area. I picked the hardest part to do. And he said, you just do the rest. That's what I was telling him. He's like, tú no corres nada aquí, ese. I was like, what? He's like, you don't run shit here, homie. You don't tell me what to do. You know what I'm saying? So I go up to him and I said, man, what the fuck you mean, homie? I'm just, I'm telling you what I'm going to do. Oh, man, I still off on him. Boom. I'm like, fuck it, man. You know what I'm saying? I felt disrespected. I felt tried, you know what I'm saying? And I wasn't even coming at him, you know what I'm saying, like a tough guy or none of that shit, man. I guess he was having a bad day, wanted to take it out on me. Wasn't having that day. Wasn't happening that day. So I still off on him. Boom. And we start going at it. Boom, boom, boom. I'm like 160 pounds at this time. The dude's like at least a solid 180, 190. You know, so he was obviously bigger than me. Probably, maybe even pushing the 2. And a little taller than me too. So what happened is he grabbed me and slammed me. And when he slammed me, I had a flashback when I was in Carn City and had got into some shit with the big dude. You know, I was like 140 at that time. This dude was like 2 something. And he slammed me on my fucking head in that Carn City. So I had a flashback of that and I said, oh, hell no. This ain't gonna go down like it did that time. So I quickly pulled out the shank, homie. And I started wetting the boy up. Boom, boom, boom. Hitting him up, bro. What's crazy is he didn't really even know that I was stabbing him. I'm sure he felt him. But it was the last one that I hit him that he went, oh, and the shank popped out of my hand. You know what I mean? And that then and there, that's when I remembered, you know what I'm saying, the teachings that this Merecio had told me at USP. You know what I'm saying? About the knife falling out and all that. And it did. So I saw it and I looked at him and he was frozen solid, like, you know what I mean? Like a statue. He froze, like he couldn't move or nothing. So I saw the shank and I recognized what that look in his face was. He froze with fear. He was paralyzed with fear. You know what I mean? And so he's leaking and I pick up the shank, man. And I tie it around my wrist, you know, and the whole time that I'm doing this, I'm looking at him and he's not even moving or nothing. His eyes just like, boom, like this dude is frozen. I guess he's expecting mercy. So I'm like, I was like, all right, what's up now, homie? ¿Qué onda ahora sí, Holmes? Run up on him and I hit him one time good in the neck, bro. Bam. Boom. Starts gushing out, bro. Like immediately leaking like water, like a faucet just opened like this, man. Like that. Starts leaking out the neck, bro. And he falls down, boom. And I'm like, man, you lucky I don't kill your fucking ass. By this time when I did that, The COs were already outside banging on the windows with the camera. They were recording the whole incident. And I got the shank on me. This dude está tirado en el piso. So they're coming in, but they're telling me to put the weapon down. You know what I'm saying? They're not trying to get nowhere near me until I put the weapon down. So I let it go and it's dangling off my wrist. And I go like that. I said, man, come on, go ahead, take me in. So they come in and they're like, you know what I mean, 10, 12 of these cats, and they're coming in real scared and shit. So they lock me up and they're trying to take the damn knife off my wrist, but it's tied so good that they had to handcuff me and take it off in the cell in segregation. So I'm walking through the whole CCA with a shank full of blood hanging off my wrist, you know what I'm saying, on a string. When we get to the segregation, they take it all off and they're like, man, that was some crazy shit. So I'm in confinement for the stabbing that I just did. And I'm kicking it with a homeboy that passed away already. He actually got killed in San Antonio. You know what I'm saying? A really good friend of mine. I'll get into the story of Bernie on another video, but his name was Bernie. And I was chilling with Bernie, you know what I mean? He's right next to me. There's another homeboy, Calladito, on the other cell. You know what I'm saying? I had just left segregation a while back, so they put me back, and I ended up kind of like in the same cell, just across on the other side. So I'm telling them what happened, you know what I'm saying? And Bernie actually went to medical to get some shit. When he comes back, he's like, no, me está todo picoteado el vato, que, you know what I'm saying? Like, he's all fucking wet up and stabbed up. The dude you just hit up, you know what I'm saying? He wasn't looking good, bro. I'm like, damn. In my mind, like, fuck. I wasn't even sure if this dude was dead or not, you know what I'm saying, to be honest with you. So the CO comes by and he's like, it's late. It's like 12 or 1 and we have been chopping it up, kicking it. And I was just about to go to sleep and he knocks on my window. He goes, hey, güey. I was like, ¿qué onda? He's like, el vato que picoteaste, güey, no la hizo, man. La tuvo peleando en el hospital toda la noche. He's been fighting it, bro. He didn't make it. He died. Right then and there, I felt my whole body go cold, homie. Like ice cold. And, you know what I'm saying, he's basically letting me know that the dude I just wet up, that he died in the hospital, that he was fighting it all night, trying to, you know, make it, and passed away. So right then and there, I was like, well, I guess I'm going to be doing a whole lot more shankings then. Is what I said, those exact words. I said, I guess I'm going to be doing a whole lot more shankings then. And he walks off, he leaves, and I hear a lot of giggling and shit. And I'm trying to get Bernie and Calladito's attention, and I hear him kind of a little bit. And I'm like, man, no la hizo el vato, man, se murió a la verga, güey. Me dice el Calladito, ¿qué vas a hacer, güey? Pues shit, me voy recio, homie. Voy a comenzar a quebrar chingo de gente. As soon as I get out of here, bro, somebody else getting wet up. I'm gonna go on a shank party, bro. Fuck it. This is my life now, then. You know what I'm saying? Because they're probably gonna give me a life sentence or some shit anyway. I didn't cry. I wasn't really scared. I was just like accepting it. I was like, fuck it. If this dude just, you know what I mean, he's dead, then I'm gonna take the consequences I have coming my way. And, you know what I mean, people on this on these penitentiary yards I hit, they're gonna feel my pain, homie. Cause I ain't gonna be playing no games with nobody. That's my mentality, that was my mind frame. And then they start laughing their ass off. I'm like, what the fuck? And they're like, no, hombre, güey, más estaba jugando contigo, el júrase. I was like, oh, shit. Y viene para atrás el pinche jura, vato, la guardia. He comes back laughing and shit. He's like, no, hombre, he's alright, bro. He made it. He's everything's good and shit. He's alright. We put him in a whole nother tank. He's like, no, hombre, ese pinche huerco travieso me picoteó todo, y que la verga. You know what I'm saying? But the biggest relief, man, I felt so good when I heard that shit, man. that they was just pulling my leg and fucking with me, you know. It was like the dude lived, you know, he survived. They were just messing with me. It was the biggest relief ever, man. I felt so good inside, homie. I made a promise. I was like, man, thank you, God. Because I honestly thought they were like, you know what I mean? What they were saying was valid, was true. Just a few months later, I ended up making a whole nother shank out of some steel from the bottom of the bed. Because there was going to be an issue pop off with some other cats. So in preparation, I was like, because it had happened before where the security doors open and then some motherfuckers will run in your cell in segregation, and you know what I mean, there'd be some shit pop off. So I made a steel joint, and this steel joint, you know what I'm saying, I actually got caught with it when I went to recreation. They shaked my cell down and found it. And there were COs telling me they had nightmares that night about that shank. They're like, man, we never seen a shank like that. That shit was scary, man. I was having nightmares about it. But, you know what I'm saying, I did get caught with it when I went to rec, you know, and I was going to stay in that day, but there was good COs that never shook me down when I went to rec. So I thought I was straight. But little did I know, they sent the asshole that I didn't like, and he came and shook my cell down and found that one. And by the powers that be, and by the grace of God, I didn't get in no trouble. I just got, the only trouble I received was I was placed in confinement in the CCA for the rest of my duration. I spent 6, 7, 8 months or something like that. No, matter of fact, it was more than that, about a year. I spent like a year in segregation for that incident, you know what I mean? Damn near shit. That's what I think it was. So the majority of my time in the CCA, I spent it in segregation. You know, I had been in segregation before, but that stabbing basically left me there indefinitely. But no charges were pressed. I didn't get more time on my sentence, nothing. And I can talk about this because they got a whole video recording of the whole incident. You know what I mean? They had cameras recording when I actually hit the dude. You know, they got all the evidence they need, man. They had the weapon, you know. This ain't something that, you know, they didn't know about, and I'm snitching on myself now on the video about. Everything I'm telling you, it already happened. It's been years. You know, it's been like 10 years ago this shit happened. So, and they had all the evidence. The dude lived. He survived. You know, he's probably already got deported because he was there illegally. They already probably sent him back to Honduras. So it's a dead issue, homie. But this is basically what happened. And, you know what I'm saying, this is one of the stories, you know what I'm saying, that could have really finished me off in there. You know, if this dude would have died, you know, my life would be a lot different today. I probably wouldn't be standing in front of you on this video right now. So think twice, man, before you come out here, you know what I'm saying, and thinking you're gonna, you know what I'm saying, just go in there and have a smooth ride in confinement, you know, in lockup. And that's not always the case, man. A lot of people lose their life behind them walls, man. A lot of people lose their freedom behind them walls and get trapped in that bitch. You know, you hear about it all the time, man. There's so many stories that I unheard and people I done seen. They come in there with a 2, 3, 5 year sentence, and they end up catching bodies in there, and then they smoked, man. They stuck there for the rest of their life. You know, and then there's other cats go in there, you know what I mean, and they lose their life in that bitch. Having a release date all along, and they lose their life, man. You know what I'm saying? Being locked up, you know what I'm saying? That shit is just part of the street life. When you're a criminal and you know what I'm saying, you get into how you live out here, man, that's the other side of the game, you know, that's just part of the lifestyle. Parte de la sopa. It's all in the soup. You know, you gotta take the good with the bad, but you know, I'm really thankful to God, you know what I'm saying? I'm thankful that that part of my life, those days are over. And I've met so many good cats, man. So many good cats in the system, you know what I mean? In TYC, in the CCA, in the county, in the feds. I met so many solid, good dudes, man, but they're just rascals at heart, you know, they're criminals by nature. And, you know what I'm saying, unfortunately, you know what I'm saying, that these are the harsh realities that criminals have to go through. You know, getting locked up and arrested, losing their freedom. But even in there, there's good times, homie. There's good laughs. You know, especially in the segregation, we was always joking around, laughing, cagando el palo, homes. You know what I mean? And one time they asked my homie Calladito Cordless, and they're like, hey, man, que siempre te andas riendo? Why you always laughing, man? Dijo, no, hombre, homie, yo me río pa no llorar, vato. So it's like, I laugh to keep from crying is what it is. Instead of crying all day long off my misery, I'm just going to laugh all day long, you know what I'm saying? And that's just a way of coping with the current situation that you may find yourself with misery. All we got left is to caer el palo and just laugh this shit off, you know what I mean? It's better than crying and being angry and miserable. But man, do something righteous with your life, homie. This is just one of the stories that I wanted to share with y'all. That way you know that, you know what I'm saying, I come from the lifestyle that y'all boys be spitting on these videos sometimes. You come across this video, you know what I mean? You can relate to some of the stuff I'm spitting out here too, bro. Estamos.